Hey, I'm Alan here at the Spokane Plant Farm, and it's very possible that you received in the mail this week uh, an order of piggyback cuttings. They usually come packed with a little bit of humidity around them in a Ziploc bag. And I wanted to show you real quick how to propagate that. But if you look at the piggyback, you can see why we do call it a piggyback. It has this new tier of leaves coming out right from the intersection of the leaf and the stem. And it's possible that a mature plant, you may have 2 or 3 tiers stacked on top of each other. But in the case here, for just an easy propagation, we're going to just take this leaf right here that's already got a plant established and coming from it, and we're going to put it in some root tone. And root tone's pretty easy. If you have root tone, then I would recommend that you use it. If not, it's possible you could order this online or maybe find it at a garden center that's near you. But relatively important that you use root tone on this particular application. Not all plants need root tone, but this particular variety does a lot better with it. We're going to put some water on our soil. Notice on this soil here, let me address it here for you in a minute. We'll just soak that up. And that's part of the propagation process. We got to get things good and wet because we want to hold this soil around this leaf until it begins to form roots. But for propagation purposes, we need a soil that's not too tight. We need a soil that's loose, a soil that will drain water. And so when we look at this particular soil that's been blended, we see that there's some perlite in here, there's some pumice in here, there's also some bark, and then a little bit of peat moss. So a nice blend of well-drained soil, and that works very well for propagation. We're going to take these final cuttings that we have in our bag here, and again, put them in our root tone, insert it right here, and notice as I do that, I'm going to take this stem, and I'm actually going to shove that down into the soil and create a bit of an anchor. I want this leaf to have a good contact with our soil. I want most of the leaf sticking out, but that stem, I definitely want it down in the soil. Now, I've been propagating houseplants for over 40 years. In fact, more like 45 years. And I found that piggybacks are in some ways kind of finicky. Other ways they're a lot of fun to propagate. One of the tips I can give you is your piggybacks actually are a little bit happier if you run them on the hungry side. So don't fertilize piggybacks all the time. They do want to stay moist. You can't allow that plant to dry out or it will burn. The leaves will actually dehydrate and then they'll show some burn on it. But really it's a happier plant, a better looking plant, if you run it just a little bit on the hungry side. It's still important that you fertilize it, but I would say that you want to fertilize it about the 3rd or 4th time that you water. So in the case of wintertime like this, where we're at, we probably are only watering our houseplants maybe once a week and sometimes even once every 2 weeks. But if we're going to water with fertilizer every 3rd or 4th time, it could be that you go maybe a month without putting the fertilizer on a plant like your piggyback. I'm Alan at the Spokane Plant Farm, and I hope you enjoy your propagation adventures.